What's going on, YouTube? This is Brian916. In this particular video, I wanted to talk about some of the tools that I absolutely love using that makes life a lot easier. And so we're a little bit slow at the shop today. So I was getting some cleaning done and reorganizing some of my tools, and decided to shoot this video on some of the tools that I absolutely love. But this is going to be more formatted towards tools that actually make life easier. So tools that I love, I only love them because they make life easier as an auto tech. So we're going to start right here with a pair of Vise Grips, needle nose Vise Grips, and your regular set of Vise Grips. Listen, who doesn't love a pair of Vise Grips? These things will get you out of a jam. These work perfect. The clamp lines off to keep fluid from pouring out, brake lines and things like that. So that's what I use these a lot for. I'll put a little rag around the line and then clamp it with the needle nose, as well as on these guys here, you can use these to clamp spring style hose clamps, and it'll lock that hose clamp in, and you could just slide it right off the hose. So you could use it that way. And I don't know how many times I've used a pair of Vise Grips to get me out of a jam where a bolt that I encountered might have been extremely round, and nothing I had would be able to put a dent in that mess. Your trusted handy Vise Grips will always get you out of trouble, especially with rounded fasteners that's completely trashed. These will clamp on there and get them off. So I had to put these down for a tool that makes life easier / will get you out of a jam. Next, I'm going to go over to my absolutely favorite ratchet that I have. I love this little quarter snap-on. The length on it is actually pretty long, so it's a long handle. Here's a shorter style, or your regular size quarter. So you can see that it's got a little bit of length on your regular size quarter ratchet. So give you a little idea of the length on it. So this thing works really well. The flex on it is nice. It's just a great ratchet. It fits into everything. And the tooth count on it's got a nice fine tooth count on it. Most snap-on ratchets do. I think it's like 80 teeth on this thing. This is my absolutely most favorite ratchet out of all the ratchets that I have. And then next is this ratchet, which is basically the same as this ratchet, but a 3/8. It's a Pittsburgh. It's like a straight snap-on rip-off. So it's really not much of a difference from a snap-on ratchet. Our neighbor at a shop next door had the same exact snap-on ratchet, and he had a Mac one too, and we compared the two. There was very little difference. So anyway, that's just a side point, but this is one of my favorite ratchets, is that one there. I even use it a lot more than the snap-on ratchet, which, don't get me wrong, I use the snap-on ratchet a lot for not so much removing fasteners, but when I'm reassembling, I love to use this ratchet just to get the proper feel for the torque that it needs. If I'm not using a torque wrench, maybe I'm just putting an alternator in or a starter in, something where it's not really critical to have the proper torque spec, maybe a valve cover or something. This gives you a great feel on how much torque to put on there. So I love this ratchet as well, but I really only use this ratchet for reassembly, and I use this guy for a lot of teardown, but I use this for both. I love this ratchet. So next, I'm moving on to basically double box end wrenches. I got my Long Genius ones here, and I also have these here that is engraved Honda, and these were bought directly from Japan. And these things, I swear, have the best fitment I've ever felt even better than a snap-on fitment. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. So it's got a 12 point on this end and a 6 point on this end, and I'm telling you, the clearance on these things are incredible on these particular double box end wrenches. This set goes from like 10 millimeter, I think, all the way, basically all Honda sizes. I think it's like 8, 10, 12, 14, 17, maybe a 19 too. And it gives you a 6 point and a 12 on there. So I absolutely love these when doing Honda. And then also these here are my 3/8 drive swivel sockets, which I absolutely love these sockets. These are made by Sonex. This is a pretty good quality set of swivel sockets, again made by Sonex. These sockets definitely make life easier. So you know, I use them a lot, and they're definitely going in a pile of tools that I love to use because they make life easier. Then I'm gonna move on to something as simple as a hose hook. This thing right here saves you a lot of time on stubborn hoses that don't want to come off a pipe. You can just slip it in there, slide it around, and just yank the hose right off. Works a lot better than using pliers to twist it, because you always run the risk of damaging or putting a hole in the rubber when you use pliers. I guess you could probably do the same thing with this too, but it seems to be a lot safer when using this hook other than the pliers. But you know, I use both depending on what the situation calls for. Next is going to be just these simple little clips here. You'd be surprised how much these things will save you when doing timing belts. When I get the timing belt up on the cam, you know, around the cam sprocket, I'll usually clip this on to hold the belt down, especially if it's a dual overhead cam. I'll clamp them on both sides to sort of keep my belt at the mark, you know, where it's supposed to be, without sliding off or what have you. So just something as simple as these little tools can make life so much easier. And then I got, of course, my long flathead and long Phillips screwdriver. Every auto tech knows that these things right here are a lifesaver for getting, you know, long access to stuff. So these are definitely qualified for my favorite automotive tool. And then let's get these back. I got just a couple more items to show. I've showed these a couple times. You can tell I definitely been putting it to use. This is a long 36-inch extension with a swivel head. Anybody who's watched my videos know that I definitely use these. So this is in my list. Also have several other sizes. And while I got this drawer open, I'd like to grab this tool, which is my absolute favorite impact gun when doing teardowns. And then I pulled out these Honda, well, they're not Honda sockets, but you use them for Honda crank bolts, and they're made specifically to get stubborn bolts off, primarily Honda crank bolts. They're made by Lyles, and these things are really good. Again, the theme of this is tools that make life easier. So every tool that I brought out, I feel makes my life a lot easier. So it qualified as being my favorite tool. So I definitely gotta you know, pull these out. If you don't have these, consider picking these up if you work on Honda. And then this guy here, this Nano Impact, you see what's the name from South Main Auto? Eric. I believe it's Eric from South Main, Eric O from South Main Auto. In fact, I seen him using this gun, which really made me pay attention to Astro. When I seen him giving a lot of shout outs to Astro, So it made me pay attention to some of their other stuff, and I see why he uses this so much. If you buy one of these and you use this thing, you'll see why too. It's fantastic. It has a great amount of power to be so small, and it really is extremely stubby and small, and it's great for suspension, brake work. I mean, anything, engine tear down, what have you. This thing is the truth. And then next, I'm gonna go over to, this is my battery booster, and the reason why I put this on here is because customers always bring vehicles with dead batteries. No gas and dead batteries. It seems like how we always get vehicles. So this thing right here really makes life a lot easier, to be able to just, you know, boost the battery real quick after you get done with a repair, or, you know, if you need to, whatever the case may be, where you need to have some vehicle power but the battery is weak or dead. I love this guy. It's small, it's compact. You know, you could put it in your drawer if you want, store it away as a tool if you want, and it packs enough of a punch as some of your big battery boosters. So I really like this tool. It's a great tool that definitely made my favorite tool list. So I got 2 more tools for you before I bore you to death. Next one's going to be my scan tool. This is an all-tail, and this is one of my favorite tools to use. You know, who doesn't like playing with a scan tool? But really, where would we be without a scan tool? There's really not much you can do, especially making life a lot easier. If you got a misfire, I mean, this thing will tell you exactly what cylinder is misfiring on, and you could go straight to that cylinder and check for compression, spark, or fuel, or, you know, vacuum leak, or whatever the case may be. Whereas if you didn't have a scan tool, you'd have to do cylinder balance tests and all this other stuff to try to verify which cylinder is misfiring. So scan tools, I love scan tools. Definitely makes life easier. And then these last 2 guys, this is my spill-proof funnel. Can't say enough about this thing. If you don't have one, pick it up. It's one of the best tools. Even though it's so simple, it really saves you a lot of time, a lot of mess, and it helps you bleed out cooling systems a lot easier. And then this is my memory saver. This thing is a must-have. This will really save you from getting in a situation where you don't have a radio code, and if you disconnect power to be able to start repairs on an engine or on an electrical system or whatever the case may be, and you need to disconnect power, if you don't have a memory saver, then you'll lose, you know, power, and you won't be able to get back in the radio. You may not have the radio code, and you can avoid a customer being upset. Hondas are easy to get the radio codes, but some vehicles are hard to get the radio code, especially European vehicles. So this thing is a lifesaver and a must-have. So hopefully you like my favorite automotive tools, and these truly are some of the tools that I really like because they make life a lot easier as a technician. So again, this is Brian916. Thank you for watching my video. I encourage you to subscribe. If you have subscribed to my channel, I appreciate it very much. It's very much appreciated. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.